Welcome back to the 80s at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. We would like to introduce the conference to Eric Foster, a new name at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. He's the president of DealerVantage. Eric, welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Ted, thank you for having me. It's exciting to be here.
What a place to be, huh? Automotive, retail, look at all the things going on right now. I mean, I can't imagine any more. After the last couple of years, but it continues, and there's so many changes going on. And Eric, you're right in the middle of it.
Absolutely. Frankly, Ted, it is an exciting time to be here. The industry is moving, and we're happy to be part of it.
Well, we're grateful to have you. I know you have an exciting product, DealerVantage, and I want to find out more about that. Our audience wants to learn more about that and about you as well. First of all, can you give us the background of the company and, pretty much how this all came to be, Eric?
Yeah, absolutely. So Ted, thanks for having me here. The background of the company actually started with my own personal experience. So I'm a co-founder here. And my background is actually in insurance technology. Prior to this, I worked for the largest reinsurance company in the world. I led parts of their innovation lab. And at the time, we were really focused on embedding insurance into the car buying process. And after talking with countless dealerships, looking at literally millions of lines of data, we found the best value that we could provide dealerships was the customer insights that are garnered that enable them, dealerships, to do what they do best, right? Selling and servicing more vehicles. And DealerVantage as a whole was really founded along that principle, providing data and customer insights that enable the fixed ops leaders of the world to do what they do best, service more cars.
All right. Well, Eric, you've got the fixed ops leaders of the world here watching you. What's nice about the roundtable, Eric, is we've also got a lot of early adopters and people who want to go out and, maybe not necessarily just be the early adopter, but maybe even the second and the third wave as well. So, all right, tell me a little bit, how does your company differentiate itself from others? I know there are others in this space. And what would you say is your unique selling proposition?
Ted, we keep it really, really, really simple. Our solution uncovers all of the vehicles that are registered at a customer's address. So your dealership, your service center can actually see all of the vehicles that are in your customer's garage. But that's great, but what does it mean in real life? So how you actually use this depends on what your dealership likes to do. So if you have the service team, the managers who want to engage that customer right when they're in the lane, you're able to see the other vehicles in the household and provide them an offering to get those other vehicles back into their garage, back into their service lanes for more customer pay work. Now, not everyone likes to do that. So if you're more of an organization that wants to engage the customer when they're at home, we can help you drive marketing campaigns to get the other vehicles back into your fixed ops center. Simply stated, DealerVantage just enables more customer pay work, right? So with that, the biggest thing we hear from dealerships is great, customer pay work is fantastic, but I can't service every type of car. I can't service every vehicle. We make it pretty straightforward. We can actually work with you to segment based off of the manufacturers or type of vehicle you want to drive that engagement based off of the skill set and capacity that your team already has.
I just thought of another thing that came up in addition to the customer pay work. So if you know all the vehicles registered at the customer's address, in their household, in their home. For example, Brian Kramer was on earlier from AccuTrade, cars.com. Yeah. And one of the big things that's happened in the last 18 months to 24 months is the ability to appraise vehicles on the service drive and be able to get a pool of quality, one owner, family driven used vehicles at the dealership, for sale, and to be able to offer the customers an appraisal. So just off the top of my head, whether or not they come in for service, if we know what else is registered there, those are also opportunities for potential trades or vehicles that we could buy from the consumer as well.
100%. Outside of what we enable fixed ops leaders to do, a big segment of our business is working with general managers and GSMs to identify potential trade-ins and drive the engagement to that customer, knowing, hey, they have a lease that's coming up in a short period of time, or they're completing their loan, so they're primed to come back in and buy their next vehicle.
I love it. All right. So, Eric, work with me a little further. What specific impact can Vantage have on a dealership, and how do you contribute to that difference as well?
Ted, I'm super boring. It's the same answer. It's we enable more customer pay work.
Okay.
But the impact that for the dealership,
Good.
it has some really interesting downstream effects, right? So let's think the dealership as a whole. You're servicing more vehicles, you're going to have better profitability. You're going to improve your fixed ops absorption rate. But for the fixed ops leaders here, which I know that is a huge majority of our people here at this within the fixed ops roundtable, it actually can increase their own incentives, right? So if you're a fixed ops manager that's incentivized based off of the gross or net profitability of fixed operations, getting more customer pay work is going to inherently increase your gross, but more often than that, that's a more profitable customer that's going to increase your net profit as well, all while still keeping those service lanes full.
Everybody, we're speaking today to Eric Foster. He's the president of a company called DealerVantage. He's developed some amazing technology that dealers can utilize right now today to help impact their service drive, customer pay. Eric, tell us a little bit more about the technology in particular. How is it valuable for dealerships in the current market? Okay, we've talked about customer pay. I love it. You're staying on message. That's super important. It's at the top of the food chain. We mentioned maybe perhaps even the trades in the household as well, but I'm sure there's probably even more low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, so there's some really interesting things that we can provide. So we talk a lot about trade-ins. We talk a whole lot about servicing opportunities. This is broadly speaking outside of just the fixed ops. So if we have some general managers in here, one of the really cool tools that we have is what we call virtual inventory. So if you have a vehicle that you're specifically looking for, you can actually see, you have a different way to source those cars. So we're seeing the other cars in the household. You say, hey, I really want, this specific type of car is hot for my clientele, even if it's used. You can target and reach out to build that inventory, because we know, and there's a big problem with used inventory shortages right now. And we have a different tool that's going to help you source more used inventory.
Wow. Okay. So that's pretty fascinating, and that's amazing. There's a lot of challenges going on in industry right now. And you're in the middle of it. Okay. You see all these things happening firsthand. How's DealerVantage addressing them? What are some of the things that you're doing, and what are some of the things that you're seeing as well?
Yeah. So when we think about the macro trends that are kind of facing this industry, we're listening and hearing from what like the fixed ops leaders of the world are telling us. We have nothing novel to add in terms of like what the challenges are. It's the same thing we're all hearing. It's going to be inventory shortages. It's going to be shortage of skilled technicians. It's going to be changing customer expectations around, what is required and expected when servicing. We don't solve those macro trends. I'd love to say we have the silver bullet that fixes everything, but what I'm excited by is I think we can provide the insights that enable dealers to thrive. So let me give a quick example for that. Customers expect more when they're servicing a vehicle. Thank you, Amazon, right? Everyone expects a lot more from pretty much every business out there. But we know dealerships are best suited to really solve for that. They already provide a much better customer experience than the average independent servicing center down the road. There's a lot more that comes when you're servicing from a dealership. So imagine being able to both promote this better customer experience to engage more customer pay work. So use that challenge really as an opportunity to leverage what you guys do best. So marketing back to those people and saying, we do more for you when you come in to service the vehicle, to engage more car buyer or more car servicing opportunities.
Some of our best dealers, Eric, use that term customer life cycle because they've now bridged the gap between sales, F&I, and service, and they're working together. All right.
Yeah.
We're typically, historically, there's been walls. Okay. First, there were walls between service and parts. Okay. That seems to be going away. And now the walls seem to be coming down between what they call the silos between sales, F&I, and the service department. So I think dealers are a lot more receptive to this type of thing and smart about it than ever before. Implementing your process, is it difficult to get on board, to get started? Kind of walk us through that. If I'm a dealer, let's say one rooftop or multiple rooftops, what is the process with DealerVantage to get going?
That it is really, really easy. That's one of my big takeaways I love everyone to leave with, is how simple it is to get started. All of our systems are connected into the DMS. Everything is driven from there. And we are a certified partner for nearly every major DMS system. It is literally just a few clicks away for us to start the process. Then we're going to work with the team of rolling this out based off of how your organization benefits most from this. But getting started is really simple. It's literally just a couple clicks.
That DMS integration is important too. So you're integrated with those DMS players, and you know the landscape there, and you're familiar with that.
Yes, we are. And it is a time-intensive and costly experience. But honestly, we did that. We go through all that because we know it just makes it easier for dealerships to start with us. If we didn't do all that work, it's quite burdensome.
Let me ask you another question. What if I'm a consumer? What are the benefits if I have a dealership that uses DealerVantage, uses your service? If I'm a consumer, what are the benefits from my side? Again, they may not realize that the dealership utilizes you, but what would you see as the benefit on their side?
Simplicity and ease of doing business, right? I'm going to give like a very personal analogy. You guys can't see it, but we have my colleague Linda Foley in the room here, making sure I'm not messing things up too much. And when we started all of this, I remember talking with her, and like a light bulb even went off for her, where she's like, I have all these other cars and I'm taking them to different places to be servicing them. And it's a pain. Why am I not just going to the same place consistently? Because you get to know the people. You trust the work that's being done. It just makes life easier and simpler. And again, dealerships have a whole lot of those amenities to make it a much more personalized experience. I think, broadly speaking, we as individuals, as Americans, as consumers, like personalization and like things to be easy for us. Behind the scenes, all we're doing is making the customer's life easier and letting the dealership do what they do best.
So you really do work behind the scenes then. I mean, you let the dealers do what they do best. You give them this information about other vehicles in the household, but really it's up to the individual dealer to decide how they would deploy that, how they would utilize that, and what the best practices would be as well.
Oh, without a doubt. Dealerships is like the most entrepreneurial landscape in all of America. And everyone takes their own approach for how they want to run the organization. So we're not like hey, this is all you get, take it or leave it. We work with you to understand what your business looks like, what makes sense for you. And then we're going to both pull best practices from what we've seen from other dealerships who are similar, customizing it for you, but also giving you a unique experience that meets what you do best, how you do it best.
I think what we're going to do, Eric, is in addition to inviting you back on the next Fixed Ops Roundtable, and we want to hear from dealers how they're utilizing this, I'd like you to be on a panel. And you know what? Maybe we invite some of the top dealers, some of the top retailers from the Fixed Ops Roundtable to get on your platform. All right. And when we come back in a few months, maybe to share with you and with the audience how they've been utilizing DealerVantage and how it's worked for them, and hear it from their perspective, because I think that would go a long way as well.
Absolutely. I would love that. I'd love to share some of our successes with the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
All right, Eric, last question for today. What would you like your potential customers to know about DealerVantage? So your audience today, you've got dealers, you've got general managers, fixed ops managers, you've got reconditioning, you've got used car managers, service and parts managers. What do you want them to know in closing about your company, and going back to how they would get started with your company?
Absolutely. 3 big takeaways I would love everyone to leave with. 1, it is really easy to get started. I'm glad you asked it. It was like always going to be my takeaway. It's something how we constantly aim to drive home. It's very simple. We're integrated with nearly every major DMS. It is just a few clicks away. Following that trend, we make it so simple that there's no commitment and no cost to get off the ground. First few months are completely on us and is completely commitment free. Wow. You get started, you get the value, you pay nothing. If you love what we do, you keep working with us. If you don't, there's no commitment. You can walk away. We are that confident that you're going to love what we bring to the table. And lastly, we got a great team. I know we got the banner below that's showing our email as well as our phone. Call, text, email. Our sales reps will respond. They will get on the line with you, and we'll get the process started really quickly.
I know you personally, Eric Foster, you're on LinkedIn, because I've reached out to you before on LinkedIn. So if our audience wants to even get a hold of you, are you available and accessible?
Anytime you want to get a hold of me, I'm on LinkedIn. I can be immediately reached. I'm actually pretty responsible on LinkedIn. So you can get our sales reps, you can get to me, and we will get back to you quickly.
Everybody, DealerVantage solves a lot of the common problems dealerships have. They've integrated the insurance process into the retail dealership process. Plus, they do a whole lot more, especially on the fixed operation side, giving you as a dealer, giving you an unfair advantage, all right, if you will, to be able to deploy this system. So, Eric, on behalf of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, thank you. I see at the bottom, you've got your website scrolling, you've got the email, you've got the company phone number. We mentioned that you're available, you're on LinkedIn. So
We're here.
it's okay if folks reach out.
Absolutely. We'd love for it.
DealerVantage.us, sales at DealerVantage.us. And looks like there's an 877 number there as well. So, Eric, on behalf of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, thank you so much today for sharing this with the audience. And I look forward to great things from you and having you come back again and again.
Ted, it's been a blast. Thank you for having me.
Eric Foster, everybody, with one of the amazing new technologies, DealerVantage, here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks, Ted.